So, a very good afternoon. Can I start the webinar now? It's 4 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you can. Please.
Okay. So, today's webinar is how to nurture critical thinking in middle school. So, I welcome you all to this webinar and let me present my PowerPoint in the webinar. So, here is the PowerPoint. Can just somebody confirm if it is visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
All right. Thank you so much. Right. So, uh, so we are concerned in this webinar with thinking and not just plain thinking, but critical thinking. And then we are concerned whether this critical thinking can be nurtured in the classroom, and if it can be, then how it can be. So, when we are talking about thinking, we know that thinking is any. What is this coming? Any overlapping windows? What is this coming? I don't know. Uh, all right. Now it is fine. Okay. So thinking is when we say we are thinking when we are performing a range of mental activities like trying to understand something or trying to make sense of something, analyzing something, or we are comparing things, or we are thinking of a new design, or we are thinking of a solution, or we are simply trying to decide whether we should do this or whether we should do that. So, and people who could think faster and clearer. Earlier, there was this thought that people are inborn with this capacity to think, and we only have to manage their capabilities. But now the scientists know that we can deliberately teach thinking, and we can develop it in the classroom. And so, if we can develop it in the classroom, then what is that kind of thinking that we would like to develop in the classroom? And that is critical thinking. Now, what exactly is the meaning of critical thinking? Critical thinking is thinking about our own thinking or somebody else's thinking, or what the writer is writing in the book, thinking about his thinking. We are looking at a movie. What is the movie maker trying to say? What is his thinking? So, whenever we think about any thinking, we are calling it critical thinking. For example, is this correct thinking? Now, whether this thinking is correct or not, that means we are trying to evaluate somebody's thinking, or maybe it is our own thinking. So, when we are trying to ask this question, is this thinking correct? We are thinking about our thinking. Is this thinking logical? Does this thinking make sense? Is something left out in this thinking? What makes you think that? Is this thinking fair? Is this clear thinking? Have all consequences been thought of? Which way of thinking is better, this one or that one? So the topic under consideration, topic under our thinking is thinking itself. So how do we make children think about their own thinking, or how do we make them evaluate somebody else's thinking? And why should we do that? Why is it important? It is important because everywhere in life we come across niche situations. Our children will go out of the school, they will go to college, then they will go to real life, where not real life, even this life is real, even college life is real, but the life of employment. Then they will have their family life, they will grow old, the times will change very quickly. So how do they make sense of new situations about which they've not been taught in the classroom? Can we make them capable of thinking beyond passing the exam? Because in real life there aren't any exams in form of pen and pencil exams. the life itself throws up new situations in which we are not required to answer, but we are required to ask, in fact, questions to make sense of that situation. Why else it is required? It is required to solve problems, because all of us have small or big problems. Guests are coming, what to cook for them, will this dress look good for the party, or will that dress look good, whether this speech will be effective to the audience, or I should say it in some other words. So whether this product is more suitable for my room, whether this fan will be sufficient for this room, or it will be smaller. So all the time we are trying to make decisions, and when we are taking decisions, always we are thinking whether this is good or that is good. And if I take this decision, what might happen? Are there things which will go wrong, or this will lead me to betterment? So all this thinking is extremely important. It is also important so that, nobody cheats us because of our own biases. Suppose somebody is too much interested in looking good, the beauty product companies may sell you anything without you trying to think critically whether this product will be good for my skin or not, what will be the consequences. So or how people take advantage of our own biases, our greeds, our fears, our excitements. So to save ourselves from falling into pitfalls, to make good decisions, clear decisions, to solve problems, what we have to do is ask lot of questions, so that we get to see each aspect of that situation, each aspect of the future. So if we want our children to live a life worth living, a happy life, beautiful life, we have to make them think and not just follow and regurgitate in the exam what we are teaching to them in the classroom. So how do we create those situations which are going to be which will empower them to do something in the classroom other than just passing examination? So that is to empower them with critical thinking. And what do we do to nurture it? So at the core of critical thinking, there are two things. One is perspectives and the other is reflection. Now, I'll show you something on the next page. And when you look at what is written, try and guess what the Q is talking about, and write it in the chat box what object the Q is indicating, right? So now the first, somebody is saying it is a rope. So write down what could the object possibly be. Write down in the chat box. Somebody is observing an object, and that person observes and says it's a rope. So write down in the chat box what object it could be if it is rope like, what the person is talking about. Please write in the chat box. And snake. Okay, it might be a snake. Wonderful. Anything else? Okay. So now another person who is skipping rope. Okay. But the another person who says it's a rope. No, it's a tree. Now what could it be? Now we have two clues. One says it's a rope and the other says it's a tree. Not a snake. It's not a rope only. It is also a tree. So you're saying it's a tree, somebody saying it's a worm, both are right. Okay. Now the third person who's observing says it's a snake. Okay, somebody saying a bridge and a ladder. Good, good. So now it's a rope, it's a tree as well, it's a snake. So what is it? A swing on the tree. Okay. It's a rail. Somebody saying it's a rail. Okay. Now there is all are right. Okay. Is being described as a rope, as well as a tree, as well as a snake, as well as a spear. Okay, so you're writing it's a train. What else? Now don't keep on wishing me good afternoon. I have wished you once good afternoon. Now you answer what I'm asking. Okay. Okay. Yes, you guessed. It's a fan. So somebody said it's an elephant on the hole. Wonderful. So you all know this story of blind men who were groping different parts of the body of an elephant. Somebody groped the tail and said it's a rope. Somebody felt the legs and said it's a tree, and somebody touched some other the teeth, big teeth, and said it's a spear, and then somebody touched the ears and said it's a fan. So none of them were correct, but every one of them was correct. So can you tell me, even though each one of them was individually wrong, but is there any benefit of this whole exercise? In the end, were we benefited by the whole exercise or not? We benefited or not? Yes or no? Yes. Alok ji is saying yes. Rubina ji is saying yes. So in what way did we benefit from it? What was it? In what way did we benefit from this whole exercise? Even though individually everybody was not correct. Thinking, inquisitive, we are sailing together, everyone pitched in, and all this information together finally would have led to the conclusion that it is an element if more inputs came out from every part of elephant's body. So you see, everybody is pitching in with small observations, small truth, and finally the bigger truth comes up. So that is the power of perspectives. So I want you to understand this, that whenever we look at any scenery, or we read something, or we look at a situation, we are experiencing something, all of us focus on only one aspect of that scenery. For example, look at this picture. Through this fingers, somebody is focusing only on the ship. Somebody might focus on the building. Somebody might focus on the water. And if we all pull in what we are looking at, what we are experiencing, what we are thinking, then the picture would be clearer and clearer. So that is the power of perspectives, and why it is important for critical thinking, because it can generate claims, counterclaims, questions, and dissent. And if I'm saying that this picture is about a harbor, somebody might say, no, this picture is not about a harbor. This picture is about a river in which this ship is going. So there is one person who is claiming it's a harbor, another person is counter claiming that no, it's a river. Now somebody might question, what makes you say it's a harbor? Somebody might simply not put a counterclaim and say and just dissent that it is not, it is a river, it is not, it is not a harbor. Then somebody might say that why do you say that it is not a harbor? So when we get claims, counterclaims, dissenting arguments and questions, each one of them contributes in learning something more about that situation, about that topic, about that scenario. And that is why it's that is why it helps us to refine our arguments. It weeds out generalizations. You see, in the last picture, one person was very quick to say it is a rope, but it was not a rope, it was an elephant. So we don't want to have generalizations which are too sweeping, which do not give us the correct information about a situation. Then they enable us to spot errors and biases in our own thinking. So, if critical thinking helps us through generating perspectives, because then we can put claims, questions, and dissent, and helps us in thinking more clearly about that situation, in judging that situation, in evaluating this situation, shouldn't we be inviting perspectives in the classroom? And for this, collaboration is very important, because collaboration does not mean that everybody should agree. Disagreement is very essential to collaboration because only then different perspectives will come in. So collaboration does not mean absence of disagreement, but collaboration enables us to discuss and resolve differences, to tap into the power of perspectives, power of different ideas, power of looking at the same thing in different ways. So how to create situations in the classroom which bring out this collaboration of offering perspectives, and then how do we take it further to question those perspectives, how do we take it further to make children question them, disagree with them, and come out with their counter points. So that is the whole idea, how we can go about it in the classroom. The second core idea was reflection. Now, I've already told you about reflection. Is this idea correct? Is it logical? Does it make sense? Am I thinking completely about it? So, why this reflection is essential at every step? It is essential because it enables us to refine, to test, to improve all our ideas, solutions, and patterns of thinking. And how that is done? By generating new possibilities, by generating new perspectives in the classroom. And then reflection must be conscious, not that we leave children to reflect, not that we think that they must be thinking, or not just imply, but we should make it conscious, explicit, and visible. We must be able to understand, or visibly see. We must have some visible demonstration that reflection is going on in children's minds. And how that will happen? When we why should it happen? Because it makes thinking available to other people, to ourselves also over time. And this can happen by self reflection among the children, by peer feedback, by group reflection. So, how do we nurture reflection in the classroom? How do we nurture different perspectives in the classroom? Through self reflection, peer feedback, and group reflection. So, what are the activities that we can do so that reflection and perspectives happen in the classroom, especially in middle level classroom, middle school classroom? This reflection can also be done uh, through Bloom's taxonomy method, or not exactly method, but scaffolding. Bloom's taxonomy can offer us a good scaffolding. How? Uh, why have I stopped sharing? I don't know how my screen is. Is my screen visible now? Okay, I am assuming that it's visible. So, how Bloom's taxonomy can be used as a scaffolding for reflection? In remembering, I can ask myself, what did I do? How did I do it last time? So, that is when I'm questioning myself, understanding what was important about it, the way I did it, or what I thought about it, or the way I solved the problem, what was important about it. Okay, I'm questioning my understanding. Where could I use this again? If I learned something, where can I use it again? I'm questioning my own thinking. If I have understood that something and I want to apply it, I'm questioning my own thinking. Yes, I want to apply, but next time, where can I apply? Where can I use it again? Do I see any pattern in my thinking? Do I see any pattern in other person's thinking? Do I see any pattern in the behavior that I am seeing around me? Evaluating. How well did I do what I did? How well I thought that I did just now? How well did I solve a problem? Did I do justice to what I expected from myself? What should I do next? Where do I go from here? What can I create? So, this is how I'm taking the different steps of Bloom's taxonomy and using them for reflection on my own thinking. Okay. So now what we really want is that we want to nurture the thinking that we value, the thinking that we want to promote in the classroom, that is perspectives and reflections, and how we want to do it so that it is visible in the classroom. Other children can see what a particular child is thinking, the teacher can see what the child is thinking, the child can see what the teacher is thinking. So how to do that? By making them observe closely and then describe what is there. So there, what they observed and perceived in their mind, that comes out when they describe, building explanations and interpretations. So whatever they have read, whatever they have seen, what sense they have made out of it, if we ask them to explain and interpret what they see, then again we can understand their thinking. Reasoning with evidence. Okay, this is why it happened. But I can make them think critically. What makes you say that? What is the evidence or what is the support in favor of your argument that you are able to say this? Then make connections. I can show them three different things and ask them, what is the similarity? What is the difference? Then they can connect the dots. Then considering various viewpoints and perspectives. One child thinks this, the other child thinks this. Is there any meeting ground? We can ask them. So when they're thinking of similarities, differences, let us think what they're thinking and how they're thinking of connecting the different viewpoints and perspectives. Then capturing the core and forming conclusions. We are asking them to read a paragraph maybe. And then we ask them to tell us what was the main idea in that paragraph. And then ask them, what makes you think that? So when we are questioning their thinking, that is the critical thinking. Not when we are asking them to find the conclusion from the paragraph. That is just thinking. But when we ask them, what makes you say that this is the conclusion of the paragraph? Then whatever they are going to say is going to be a result of critical thinking, because now they're going to look at what they have thought about the paragraph and how did they think that about it. Then look at a picture or a situation, they wonder about it and they ask questions. Asking questions is the biggest, most important step in critical thinking. Uncovering complexity and going below the surface of things. What is apparent? Is there something behind it? Does it, is it as simple as it looks? That question you're asking, that is what is critical thinking. So these are some of the thinking moves which can make thinking visible in the classroom. So how do we execute these moves? What are the platforms which will enable us to float these thinking moves in the classroom? Yes, Arvind Kumarji, you have raised your hand, but unfortunately we cannot unmute you. So kindly write the question in the chat box. Shyam Kumarji has also raised a hand. So kindly write your questions in the chat box because we cannot unmute you. So if you write your question in the chat box, I should be able to take it up just now. Now, please don't go on wishing me good evening, good afternoon. A very good afternoon to all of you. Okay, so let me proceed if there is no question. So first routine that we can offer is see, think and wonder. Now see, think and wonder what critical thinking skills it enables us to nurture. So when we show them something and we ask them, what do you see? What do you think? And what do you wonder? Then which critical thinking skills are we nurturing? The critical thinking skill is of describing, interpreting, and questioning. That questioning is the most important critical thinking skill. So if we harness the power of looking very carefully, students are required to look closely and intently as a foundation for greater insights and interpretation. So let me show you some of the pictures. Now, Amul advertisements are great platforms which enable see, think, and wonder routine beautifully for critical thinking. So, supposing you are a games teacher and you're showing this, so tell them what do they see and what do they think and what do they wonder. So, what do you think? What do you interpret from? What do you understand from this particular advertisement? Please write in the chat box. Even if you're not a games teacher for middle school, I'm sure even then you can interpret this advertisement. So, if you're an English teacher, you must be teaching contextual meaning, right? So, what do you think is the contextual meaning of Mahi here? Oh, Captain, Mahi Captain. So, what is the contextual meaning of Mahi? I'm sure there are English teachers over here. Yeah, so what do you think is the meaning of Mahi here? No, Mahendra Singh Dhoni is the real name of Mahi. But in the advertisement, how the word Mahi has been used, it has been used to mean not the name of Captain Dhoni, but something else. What is that something else that this word Mahi is meaning here? My, yes. Somebody has written my, right. Then well done MSD. Look at the right bottom line. Well done MSD. So Dhon is a short form of Dhoni's surname. But here, what does it mean? What is the contextual meaning of the word Dhon? Yes, done. Right, done. Very good. So you are not only you can use this to teach something about cricket, but if you are an English teacher, you are able to make them think critically and learn this. Then I go to the next picture. Now, better safe than sorry. So, what do you think when you look at this picture? And give me one question that comes to your mind. See, making children ask questions and not just ordinary questions. Something which makes us think further, which makes us go deeper. Write one such question which comes to your mind when you look at this. Now, wash your hand is not a question. COVID is not a question. I'm asking you to write a question when you look at this picture. Yes, kindly write a question that comes to your mind. I'm sure we are all better than children. We can write some questions, isn't it? How to be better? I mean, how does it relate to this picture? Why should we wash our hands? Okay. What to do? Okay. Why Amul is talking about washing hands? Why is it important? How can we keep ourselves safe? Right. So, why Amul is talking about this? What is the relevance? Now, you see, this is one question which makes us go further. What is the relevance of this ad? Why Amul is talking about washing hands? So, what could children answer if we ask this question? Somebody can say that it is to wash away the grease or the butterly feeling from our hands, but somebody might say that it was in times of COVID. And then what is the significance of washing hands? Was it the significance of only washing hands, or was it the significance of washing hand with soap? So you see, you're going deeper, you're questioning your thinking, that is it talking about only washing hands, or is it talking about washing hands with soap? And what is that specific thing, that soap? How is it that soap is providing protection, right? So this is how we can take it further. Now, this is another ad from Amul which says, don't go from bad to worse. So, what is it talking about? What is it talking about? What is this ad talking about? So, if you are a social science teacher, maybe you would like your students to be contemporary. They should come out about which war is it talking about? It's talking about the Ukraine war. So, sign treaty with a treat. What does this treaty mean here? Is this is this treat a short form of treaty, or this treat means something else and the treaty means something else? So we are making the children look at the meaning more critically. That is treat word here coming from the word treaty, or do they mean completely different things? What is the significance of a treaty? Why why Amul should be talking about a treaty? So this is how we can make we can present situations in front of the students through pictures and make them question. This is another picture. Now if you are a maths teacher, why would you give this to your children? Or maybe you would write down here some observations. What do you see? Please write down in the chat box, what do you see? I want you to write down as many things as you can about what you see here in the picture. To count, you don't see to count. You see dices, you see pattern, you see multiples of 6. I'm sorry, you don't see multiples of 6. Where are the multiples of 6? Same number, all right. Multiples of 5, okay. Beautiful pattern, odd and even. Where do you see even? What is even and what is odd here? Okay, odd is probably the number of green dices, and even is even is the number of green dices, and odd is the number of black dices or blue things in the first and the last row. All right, shape and sizes. Okay. Now, if I were to ask you, what do you think? What do you think about it? Then, or let me ask you, I wonder when I look at this, I wonder what is the number behind 5? What is the number behind this 5? Can anybody tell me, looking at this picture very, very carefully, what is the number behind 5? So, what makes you say that the number is 2? Or what makes you say that the number is 1? So, those people who are saying that number behind 5 is 2, what makes you say that? Is it because you've seen the dices, or you are observing something here? Yes, what makes you say it is 2? Now, I am not seeing any answer to my question. The total is always no. Answer on the basis of what you're observing here, not about your preconceptions. So if you look carefully, you can see here 6 is visible. Here 3 is visible. Here 6 is visible on the side. Here 4 is visible. Here 4 is visible, and here 1 is visible, and here 3 is visible. So the only number which is left out is 2, which should be on the other side, because otherwise it would have been visible on the side. So that is how we can work it out that it was number 2. Okay. So then I proceed. Now this is another picture, and we were talking about claims and now counter claims earlier, and how we can uh, encourage our children to come out with claim and counter claim and dissent. So if I ask you, where is the source of light placed so that this image is produced, this shadow is produced? So what would you say? Where is the source of light? I'm sure every one of us can answer that, whether we are science teacher or not. All of us can answer this question. Where is the source of light, and from where this picture has been taken? So sun is fine, but which side is the sun in this picture? On this side, on where is it exactly? Is it on the left, right, top, or here, or here, or here, or here, or it is where we are? I mean, is it outside the screen? above the screen, or is it behind the screen, below the screen? Yes, at the bottom. Somebody is saying on the left. No, I'm asking from your perspective. Here, this is above. This is on the top side. This is left. This is right. This is bottom. Behind the camel. So don't talk about camel. I'm asking with respect to yourself. All sides behind the camel. So you see, the source must have been here where I'm showing this, because then only the camel will block it and the image will be here. So now supposing one of you was saying on the left, one was you saying top. So you are all giving claims and counterclaims. So one child says it is on the left, the other says no, it is on the right. And the third one says no, it is at the top. So you are having claims and counterclaims. The thinking is becoming visible to you. They are dissenting. No, it cannot be on the top, because then you can ask what makes you think so. So when you ask them this question, what makes you think so, then they will look at their thinking again. They will be thinking critically, right? So so then somebody might say the only way a shadow is formed is by blocking the light from a source. So if this is the camel, then it must be blocking the light if it comes from this side, from its left, if it is its head is here. So from the left of the camel, it must be coming. Then from where has the picture been taken? Now somebody, what is your answer if I ask you? From where has the picture been taken? From the top or left or right, or from where? From the top, right. So that this camel is fully visible on the sand near the camel, right? So when we provide such a picture, children have, it is, they have a lot of choice for answers. It's an open-ended question. But in this situation, there is possibility of lot of claims and counterclaims, agreement and disagreement. And whenever there is agreement and disagreement, claim and counterclaim, here is our chance to make them think critically, because then we can ask them, what makes you think so? And what makes you think so is the $1,000,000 question for critical thinking. So think of the situation where you can ask them, what makes you think so? It's not the reasoning which is important. It is looking at the thinking for that reasoning, which will make critical thinking possible. Okay. Then I go further. Now this is a picture that I give them. So I ask you now, see, think, and wonder. What do you see that is not visible? Now I want you to write in the chat box, what do you see or what do you think is not visible but is very much present here? The sun is visible. You see the sun is visible here. You can see the sun here. The rays are coming out. The sun is visible. The tree is visible. The clouds, yes, they are visible. But what is not visible is air. Wonderful. Somebody has written air. Somebody has written peace. Okay, that's not here in the picture. That's inside you. Peace is not in the picture. Peace is the feeling that you have inside you. So you see, it's good that these things are coming out. Then when you say peace, I can counter question. Why do you say that peace is in the picture? Is it in the picture or is it in your mind? So now that is what makes the child think about his own thinking, about his emotions, about his feelings. And it is this relook on the thoughts, on the emotions, on the feelings, that is what will make critical thinking. Right? So one is air. What else? What else is there? But it is not visible. Animals and birds, okay, they might be there, right? Humidity, wonderful. Water vapor is present here. Wonderful. But do you see only the water vapor, the air, or the birds or the animals? Are there not any processes that are taking place? Directions, yes. Somebody said dust. Wonderful. Wonderful audience I have today. Wonderful. So don't you think that there are any processes which are not visible but are very much present in this scenario? Evaporation, yes. Transpiration, yes. Photosynthesis, yes. So you see, this is on the surface, but you're now making the children go behind the surface, behind the apparent scenario. You are making them look at the complexity which is present in this picture behind what is visible on the top. So that is oxygen, wonderful, wonderful. Your condensation, Tyndall effect, wonderful audience today. So you are taking them deeper into the complexities of inside a very simple looking scenario. So that is how we nurture critical thinking. You give them a cue, but then allow them to come out, right? Just as I'm not telling you everything, you are telling me everything. So that's how the class should be buzzing with life, buzzing with thought, buzzing with critical thinking. Wonderful today. Now let me go further. Now we can also show some videos. It's not necessary that we only show them still pictures. Now show them this. What makes you think? What do you think about this? What about this video that you feel that is something that you can question? You saw this video just now, so ask me one question that comes to your mind when you look at this video. Shark, sun rays, marine life. That is not a question. That is a one word that you are telling me. I'll ask you one word also later today, but not this just now. What animal is it? Okay, that's a mundane question. That is not going to make them think. That will make them search for an information. But our purpose is to make them think something which makes them question their thinking. Motion and movement is not a question. Marine life is not a question. What type of fish it is not going to make them. What is this bright looking thing? Dolphin. That's one word answer. That is not going to make them think. How does a fish move? Okay. Okay, what else? What is this pattern? Have you seen such patterns elsewhere? Now they will connect the dots. They might think that they have seen such patterns on tigers, on zebra, and on giraffe, and then they might think they will connect the dots. Okay, here I see pattern, here I see pattern, here I see skin patterns. Even on the plants there are patterns. Then doesn't that bring any question to our mind that why there should be patterns? Then again we have possibility of bringing out children's ideas. First they will notice the pattern, then they will connect it with other animals, land animals, plants, and then we can ask them their thinking, that what is the cause and effect? Is there any reason why these patterns appear in nature? Again we can elicit their thinking, and when once we elicit their thinking, then we can question that thinking. So our purpose is to bring out their thinking and then question their thinking. So now look at this. I am showing them two pictures and I'm asking them which system is changing. You answer this in the chat box. Which system is changing? Answer in the chat box. Is it the system of books which is changing, or is it the moon which is changing? Okay, somebody is writing books are changing. Somebody is saying the moon is changing. So I am now going to go to the critical thinking level. What makes you say that the books are changing? What makes you say that the moon is changing? Is it really changing? Is the moon really changing? Or it is only appearing to change? So when you say moon is changing, I'm going to ask you, is it changing? What makes you say that? Is it really changing or is it appearing to change only? It is appearing to change. Why? What makes it appearing to change? Then you can come to rotation. But what about books? Are they changing? You might say no, but if you keep the books for thousands of years at like this at the same place, do you think there would appear some change? Yes. And that change is, it must be taking place even now. So we have to make children think about changes in our surroundings. Some are short term, some are long term. Now, wait at bedtime and wait at when you get up early in the morning. What can you say about the wait at bedtime just before you go to bed and wait when you get up in the morning? So write down your ideas in the chat box. What can you say about the your wait at bedtime and your wait when you awaken? Bedtime wait would be more, somebody is saying. Sadhana ji is saying it will be equal. It remains the same. It will be different, but same mass. Okay. The weight is less, mass is same. Okay. Is it the mass which is different or is it the weight which is different? Okay. So somebody has answered. So let me take up your answer. It is the same. This is normal thinking. You have evaluated and you have said it is the same. Now, where the critical thinking comes in? Now, the critical thinking comes in when I question, is it the same? Now you are questioning your thinking. Am I correct? Is it logical to say that it is same or it is not logical? If it is not same, then somebody, if I say, why is it not same? Then you might say that we burn up matter as energy during our sleep. If we burn up matter as energy during our sleep, would that be the correct reason? Now again critical thinking comes in. I will question, do we burn it up as energy? Can matter be ever burnt up as energy? Can matter be ever, can we convert matter to energy ourselves? We can never do that in our body. So where has the matter gone if it has not burnt up as energy? So then somebody might say we breathe it out. Now I will critically question, do we breathe out the matter? Do we breathe it out? Yes, we do breathe it out because we are breathing out water. We are breathing out carbon dioxide. So the matter is going out of our body, but we are not taking in the matter. Right? So this is how you make them critically think. Now, how do the trees gain weight? How do the trees gain weight? So somebody might say the mass comes in through the root as water and minerals. So do you agree with it? Yes or no? Does the mass come in through the roots through water and minerals? Please write yes or no if you agree that this is how the trees gain weight. Now let me, cell division. Cell division will only divide what is within the tree. Will it make the tree gain weight? So everybody is saying yes. Now let me question it. Does it come through roots as water and minerals? How much percentage of the tree do you think is water and minerals? Is the tree made up of only water and mineral? What else is the tree made of? What else is the tree made of? Please write in the chat box. Soil, is it made of soil? Is it made of sunlight? Is it made of air? What is it? Is it made of solar energy? It is made of wood, but what is there in the wood? It is made of cells, but what are the cells made of? Chlorophyll. Okay, but what is chlorophyll made up of? It is made up of carbon. The matter is moving in through the leaves because the leaves are taking in the carbon dioxide. And in presence of sunlight, they are converting it into carbon, which is the main material of which the trees are made of. So when children say the matter is, so when the first child says the mass comes in through the roots as water and minerals, somebody else may counterclaim, no, it doesn't come through roots, it comes in through leaves. And it is these claims and counterclaims which help us in critical thinking. So then we ask, does it enter through the leaves? Yes, of course, because it is through the leaves that carbon dioxide enters. And then oxygen is released and only the carbon is left behind. And that is what makes a tree gain weight. Now, you're teaching maybe a compass, magnetism in class 6. So give a compass to the children's hand and say, in this classroom, can you predict in which direction will the compass point? Now let the children predict whether it is this direction or this direction or that direction. And then ask them, why do you say that? What makes you say that? Then they will say that, ma'am, the red end of the compass needle will always point towards north. So you ask them that what makes you say that this will be the north direction? Now some child might say, ma'am, if I face towards the direction in which the sun comes up, then my left hand will point to the north direction. So my left hand is on this side. So when you will take out the compass, the red needle will point towards that particular side. So prediction, that power of prediction, prediction is what makes children think critically and thinks of alternatives. That okay, before using the compass, can I find out from some other method also? That is perspectives, different ideas. So make the children bring in those ideas. So what makes you say that? This will make their thinking visible. Then reading, demonstrations, and skillful predictions. So it is not, predictions are just not in science. We can also do it in language. We can do it in social science. Make them, before they read a particular paragraph or before they even start reading a chapter, just by looking at the heading of the chapter, ask them, what do you think is going to be there inside this chapter? Now the thinking starts in their mind. And then ask them, what makes you say that? That is a $1 million question. What makes you say that? Then they will look at their own thinking, that why did they think that this chapter will have this information, right? And then ask them, once you start reading the chapter, maybe you read one paragraph, maybe it's English lesson, maybe it is Hindi lesson, maybe it's a social science, maybe it is science. Ask them, what do you think might happen in the next paragraph? Right? Now again their thinking has started. And then ask them, what makes you think that? What is the information or evidence that you have, that you are saying that this is going to happen or this is not going to happen? Ask some people, okay, this child says this is what will happen in the next paragraph. Do you agree or you don't agree? If you don't agree, why you don't agree? Is there any information with you that makes you say that this is not going to happen? Or did you read something in this paragraph which is offering you an evidence that this is not going to happen? Okay. Then when you look for such evidence, what do you find? Did you find it? Based on this evidence, is the prediction likely, unlikely, or uncertain? So this is how in every subject, make the reading of the chapter an exercise in critical thinking, not just you are reading and you're giving information. Information giving is not our job. That the child can get from the book itself. But what is our job is to ask them, what makes you think that? What is the evidence for you to think like that? Whatever you are predicting, where is the evidence in favor of it or against it? Right? That is where a teacher's job is. That is where a teacher's real role is in nurturing this capacity of predicting and finding evidence and getting inference from there. Okay. Then we have this video. I'm showing you this video. Look at this video. And at the end of the video, I will ask you to describe it in one word only. You are very fond of one word. All of you have been writing one word in the chat box, right? Now look at this video and write one word after you've seen this video. Let me replay it for you. So what is the job that you have to do? The job you have to do is to write one word for it. Let me just go back. Yeah. So now look at the video and give me just one word about what is happening in the video. Now look at everything till the end before you give me your answer. And that is what you want your children also to do. You want them to look through the whole demonstration or video and then conclude. So that was the video. Now I want you to give me just one word for what you saw. Mixing, I'm sorry, no solution. No mixing, no evaporation. Did you see that the rod was visible when it was put in water, but it was not visible when it was put in the oil or the other liquid? So what was it about? When do we see something and when we don't see something? In middle school level, what are you teaching your children? When does an object become visible to us? How do you see any object? Does it emit any light on its own? Reflection. Yes, now you are actually at the correct point. So the video is telling you that in water there was reflection from the rod and the light came to your eyes, so you were able to see. But when you kept it in the oil, you could not see the rod. That means there was no reflection from it. Otherwise, it would have reached your eye and you would have seen it. So now this one word reflection is capturing the whole understanding. So when you ask the children to give one word or headlines, another critical thinking that skill that it nurtures is reflection and synthesizing. Synthesizing whatever you have understood, you're bringing it together in one word. And that is why asking children to write headlines for a paragraph or for a story or for a topic, that is another way of nurturing their critical thinking skills, because it will summarize and capture the heart of a story. The children will look at what they understood, they saw, they will look at their whole thinking and narrow down on one big idea or one word. So that is another critical thinking skill. And the last that I will give you is, if you wanted to nurture critical thinking in your children, and supposing you ask them to perform a task, looking at this picture, what would have been the framing of that assignment so that they would have done some critical thinking when they were performing this task which is in front of you? What would be that assignment which will make them think critically and come out with this result. So, creation, when you are at the highest level of critical thinking, you can create. What do I do with what I have learned? Where do I go from here? Can I use it somewhere? So don't write one word now. I don't want you to give me one word now. Now I want you to write that sentence or that statement of assignment that you will give to your children so that they think critically and come out with this result which is in front of you. So if you can do that in the chat box, it would be nice. Otherwise, that is all from this is food for thought to you. And these are my mobile, email, Facebook, and LinkedIn connections. If you have any questions, if you want to connect on anything about this session, you are most welcome. So I'll stop my presentation here. If you have any questions, any feedback, you're most welcome. So I cannot see any questions here. Thank you so much for such nice feedback. I'm extremely happy that you all participate in the session so beautifully. Otherwise, it would not have come out so beautifully. So it
Thank
is
you, madam.
contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a really wonderful session, ma'am,
Thank you.
and in which 2,600 and plus participants were there.
Okay.
Uh,
That's a credit to Pataliputra Sahodaya School Complex that you have such a vast reach and you must be providing them with good programs. Otherwise, so many people will not join the programs. So,
sure, sure. Yes, ma'am. All our resource persons are eminent resource person, ma'am. Pan India.
thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
ma'am.
sir. Okay. So, may I leave the session now? And thank you, all participants. It is because of your response that it could proceed well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.